Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the K-Source custom flip-out towing mirrors on our 2014 Ram 2500. So right off the bat, these are available as a pair, but you can also pick them up individually, and you can also grab them with the manual adjustability. So today we have a perfect example on one of the reasons why you might need to pick up a replacement mirror. In our case, our customer is parked on the street, someone sideswiped his truck and got the better of the mirror. And obviously you don't want to be driving around town with a busted up mirror like this, not only for safety reasons, but also cosmetically. You know, you want your vehicle to look good and function like it should. Another reason, kind of depending on your application, what features your mirror actually has. Let's say maybe the motor, if you have a powered mirror. You know, maybe another reason, kind of just depends on your application. Let's say if you have powered mirrors and the motor stopped working on you and you don't have that powered adjustability like you did before, that'd be another reason to replace your mirror out. Or let's say maybe even just picked up a rock or something like that, cracked your lens, and you figured, why not? It's just easier to replace a whole entire mirror. So just a couple different scenarios on why you would need something like this. You know, another reason that something like this might interest you is the fact that not all the Ram trucks came with the longer flip-out towing mirrors like this. So if your truck is not equipped with these type of mirrors and you do a lot of towing, that could kind of be a headache, and you'd rather not have to get some type of universal type mirror that you have to strap on or clip on every single time. Honestly, I think these look cooler too. You know, gives your truck a little more of an aggressive look. But with that being said, you know, you can upgrade them in that sense. But I do want to mention, so let's say if your truck does not have the power features right out of the factory, you're not just going to be able to bolt up one of these power mirrors and everything work. So if your truck isn't equipped with those, the manual mirrors are going to be what you want to get. If your truck is equipped with those features already, these will bolt right up and everything will work like it should. One thing that is cool about the flip-out mirrors is they're going to be relatively compact whenever you have them in like this, so you're not taking up a ton of space. And you're still going to have a huge lens and that spotter lens as well. That way you have plenty of coverage whenever you're just driving around town, or maybe even pulling a smaller trailer. You really don't need that extra coverage. On the same note, whenever you hook up to something larger like a camper, big boat, something like that, all you're going to have to do is flip these out, adjust your mirror how you like it, and you'll get all that extra coverage and safety whenever you're pulling that big trailer down the road. And just like the mirror that comes right out of the factory, you're going to have a great view. You know, the glass and the mirror is crystal clear whenever you're looking into it, and it's going to provide us, you know, with that extra field of view that's really important whenever we are towing a trailer down the road. I do really like the spotter mirror there on the bottom. I feel like that'd really come in handy, especially on these trucks that are lifted with bigger tires and things like that. When you lift these trucks up, you don't always get the coverage on the surface of the ground that you would like to have sometimes, and that spotter mirror is going to solve that issue and give you a whole picture on what's actually going on when you're towing down the road. So one thing that's really nice about this setup is I almost bet if you hold this up to a brand new OEM factory type mirror, you're not going to be able to tell the difference which one's which. These things are really well made, actually. I was quite surprised. And even down to the little things, you know, in our case, on the driver's side here, it comes with that parking light, that little puddle light. Comes with the new ambient air temperature sensor, so you get a new one of those. And those are just small things that are important, especially on newer vehicles. You know, you start not having things plugged in the way they should be, and it starts causing you issues. So they thought that through, provided us with all that new features, and everything will work like it should. Something I did notice is how solid the mirror feels. So more or less what I mean by that, let's say when you go to fold these in, there's some resistance there. And it takes a little bit of force to actually turn those down. You know, they snap kind of into place the way they should. They're not sloppy and real loose. And the same goes for when you actually want to fold the mirror in. So, you know, if you're parked on the street, something like that, you don't want your mirrors hanging out, you know, you can take these and fold them in just like you should right out of the box. And again, that has a nice feel to it as well. It's not super loose or extremely tight. It just feels like it should. If you did grab the set that has the powered features, you're still going to be able to retain that turn signal on the side of the mirror. And you're also going to be able to make those adjustments, you know, so that lens moves nice and smooth. It doesn't really bind up or anything like that. I will say the spotter lenso, you do have to manually adjust that, but honestly, that's one of them things that I would prefer to do it this way anyway. So at the end of the day, a great replacement or even upgrade for those of you that don't have the towing mirrors installed on your truck already. But other than that, as far as the installation goes, really not too bad actually. These are direct replacement, so nothing too crazy involved. For those of you that have the power mirrors, you do have to remove your door panels to get to the wiring, but they come off really easy, and it really shouldn't take you a whole lot of time or give you too many issues. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and put them on together now. So to begin our install, what we're going to need to do is remove our door panel. That way we can get access to the wires. And to do that, it's really not as bad as you would think. First piece we're going to remove is a small cover here. And the way to get that off is it more or less just pops off. You can use a trim tool like this. And all you're going to do is just kind of pry behind it. That'll release the clips. It'll pop off, and we can just set this to the side. Then we can move on to our switch assembly. We need to remove that and unplug it. Again, take our trim tool. It's just going to simply, more or less, just pop out. We'll kind of pull that up, and then we're going to have some electrical connectors that we have to disconnect. Pretty simple there. Just push down on the center of the tab. And pull it apart. If you're having trouble with one, might be easier to get the other one first. They both work the same. Just push down on them tabs. You can separate it, and we'll just set this to the side. Now if we look behind our door handle, we can see we're going to have this small little plastic panel, and we need to remove that to gain access to a fastener. So you can use a pick or a small flathead. Just kind of pry behind it from the top, pulling it back towards you. This lifts out of place, and that will expose a Phillips head screw. So we'll grab our bit and get that removed. So once this is pulled out, then what we're able to do is kind of grab the panel around it and remove it. May help to get your trim tool, kind of work it free, slide that out and set it to the side. Now if we move to the edges of our door panel, so the two sides and the bottom edge are going to have two plastic fasteners just like these. And the way to get these out is by using a T20 Torx bit tool. And since these are plastic, you just have to apply very light pressure and unscrew them. And if you pull the screw portion out, the base will still be in there. And what you can do is just take a trim tool or that flathead and kind of pry behind it and pop it out. So I'm going to repeat that same process to get all of these removed. So once you have all those plastic screws removed, we can actually start to remove the door panel itself. What I like to do is just kind of push our lock down. Makes it a little easier. And the way this is going to work is more or less you're just going to kind of pull straight up on it. You'll feel it kind of disconnect from itself. And then we can just simply remove it and set it to the side. So with the panel out of the way, now we can get our mirror disconnected. So here's the wiring that comes out of the mirror. And right here in this area, it's going to be taped to a keeper. Just to make things easier, I'm going to remove it from that keeper. So I'll just take a razor edge and cut the tape. Like that. And if we keep following it down, we're going to have two connectors. So this white one here on the very bottom, and this black one right above it. And so with these, what you're going to have to do is kind of push in on the center tab here. Helps with a small screwdriver, but you push in on it like that, and at the same time while you're pulling it back, and that'll disconnect it. I'll do the same thing for the black connector as well. Works the same way. Now we can unbolt our mirror. So we're going to have 3 10mm nuts that we need to remove. So grab our socket and pull those off. When you get to the last one, it's not a bad idea to kind of hold the mirror and support it. That way it just doesn't come flying off. We'll get that last one off, and then what we're able to do is pull straight out. Feed our wiring through and get that mirror removed. Now we can grab our new mirror. We're going to take our wires and feed them through the hole. I'll work those in there. And we can just take the mirror itself and get it lined up and held in position. That way we can go around to the other side and get the nuts started. So just kind of hold it in place, and what we're going to do is get each nut started hand tight. That way we can kind of draw these down evenly and pull our mirror nice and flush. Sometimes it helps just to take a 10mm socket and get a little more pressure on it that way. So I'll just do a few turns on each one, like I said, to help draw everything in evenly. And once you feel it kind of seat, then we can come back and actually snug these up. So with the mirror properly secure now, we can plug our wiring in. Really straightforward here. Simply just pushes in. You can't get these mixed up. The two ends, they only go in one way. And into one of the slots. So with those connected, what I think I'm going to do, if we move back to these wires here that connected to our switches, I'm just going to connect these. Be on the safe side. And now what we can do before we get everything back together is actually test our mirror out, and that way we can make sure it's working like it should before we get that door panel and everything else back on. So we'll grab our switch block here, put the key in the accessory position, and since we're on the driver's side, we'll hit left and make our adjustments. So the big lens is moving around the way it should, so we know that's working. And the other thing we can try, since this mirror is equipped with a turn signal, we can turn on our blinker and make sure that works as well. So go ahead and hit our left turn signal. It's flashing and working the way it should, so I think it's safe to say that everything's working properly and we can get everything back together now. At this point we can reinstall our door panel the opposite way that we removed it. When you do this, you want to make sure that the wires here that connect to your switch block feed up through there. We'll just kind of line everything up. Make sure our door lock goes through that opening there. Essentially, once you get this lined up, It will more or less just kind of push right down into place. And if you picked up a set of these mirrors, you would simply just repeat that same process over here on the passenger side. With that said, if you did get them individually and you just picked up the passenger side, all that information we just showed you will apply over here as well because it's set up the same exact way. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the K-Source custom flip-out towing mirrors on our 2014 Ram 2500.